What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the En Retard and Los Tardes, the Friday edition of Burn It Down with Kim Brown. This is the place where we set oppression ablaze. One of the ways that we set oppression ablaze is that we don't respect time as a construct, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on your perspective. Our brother Will out here is a working class hero and the job held him up. That's all I can say. So, what we are grateful that Will is with us. I'm grateful that you all are with us. Thank you all so much for engaging in the chat with your illustrious conversation. Shout out to our folks holding us down. What's up to Latif? What's up, Project Dystopia? What's up, Chichi Matcha? What's going on? Anna Hart in the building. Thank you so much, Anna. What's up to Holly Horn, Swery Ferry, my nephew, Dawn Hammond, my niece, Alicia, my son, Tyler, my whole family's in here. All my folks, 2 Fs, my sister out here. Love you guys. Thank you so much. Shout out to Damian Stoner Loner, our good bruv from across the pond, and everyone that has made some time to join us here tonight. And gang, it feels as though here in the United States, we are moving from a shadow period into a period of darkness. I don't want anyone to be under the illusion that somehow we are leaving the period of truth, justice, and the American way and then making our way into fascism. No, we're just moving into a different phase of the fascism. This is the authoritarian age of the fascism in which we are headed right now in the United States. Don't be under any illusions that the Biden administration were the mantle bearers, you know what I'm saying, of America and its values. In some ways, they absolutely were. But in the worst ways, in the worst of the American values, upholding capitalism, not doing much to benefit the material conditions of the people, and authorizing and funding and defending a genocide. These are the things that the Biden administration and Joe Biden in particular can hang his hat on. This is part of his legacy. And it's not just freedoms, as it were, that's going away. Free speech, the whole notion of free market capitalism. I mean, fuck free market capitalism. But for example, the banning of TikTok just goes to show you these motherfuckers ain't interested in whoever got the best idea, whoever puts out the best product should deserve to win. No, if it thwarts the interests of the American state, then nah, that shit gotta go. And TikTok is set to be banned this weekend. We're going to talk about that. Also, I have a story from the Dirtbag Diaries, but this time it's a lady. A lady. Oh my God, this woman is abhorrent. And let this story that I will talk about concerning the Dirtbag Diaries be a reminder why we need to protect our boys as well from predators, lady predators included. And then last but not least, one of the things that Trump has been discussing has been, I don't know what the fuck he wants to do with Greenland and the Panama Canal and Canada for that matter, right? He wants to annex these places. He wants to capture them, recapture, colonize. I'm not certain. But I saw a story pertaining to the residents of Greenland, and I realized I didn't know who the fuck lived in Greenland. I thought it was whites. It's not. It's indigenous people. The Inuit are natives of Greenland, and they have some shit to say about the threats coming from the Trump administration about them being recolonized. Because again, they are a territory of Denmark and have been colonized. But for the Americans to want to say they want to recolonize, and the indigenous people of Greenland are like, please leave us alone. Can y'all please just leave us the fuck alone? And I'm like, I share those sentiments. So got some interesting stories on deck tonight. I appreciate you guys joining us. If you're checking us out in the live vertical stream, or if you're watching us on Twitch, appreciate it. Engage with the content, engage with the channel, like the video, subscribe to us. Burn It Down with Kim Brown here on YouTube at BIDWKB on Twitch. What's up, Rosalba? What's up, Northern Witch? Shout out to all of our Twitch all-stars. All two of y'all. Y'all are the greatest. So let me jump right into it. So you guys know I'm such a fan of TikTok. I don't post on TikTok. I'm not a TikTok creator, although in some circles it appears to be lucrative to become one. However, I'm so enthralled with the algorithm and the type of stories and the type of voices that TikTok brings to my attention. Way better than Instagram, way better than fucking Facebook, and damn sure better than that neo-Nazi platform formerly known as Twitter. But the oligarchs have spoken. Zuckerberg, Bezos, Elon, all the rest of them have got information, paid their good lobbyist money, and in whip neck speed, Congress, in bipartisan fashion, during the Biden administration, came together with this TikTok ban. Well, first of all, let me say this. That should give you, number one, no doubt as to when Congress wants to get some shit done, when their billionaire overlords tell them that you have to pass this legislation and pass this law, them motherfuckers get it together real quick, don't they? They can agree real quick. They can get the bill out of committee and to the House and the Senate for floor votes. Oh, they can get that shit together real quick. When it comes to healthcare, can't do that. When it comes to a sustainable minimum wage, can't do that. When it comes to ensuring women's reproductive rights are enshrined in federal statute, nope, can't do that neither. When it comes to banning 170 million users in America from using TikTok, oh, they got right on that with no problem. And last week, the Supreme Court heard arguments from both TikTok's lawyers and from the government. And I listened to these arguments. And let me say this, I was intrigued in some fashion that all of the justices seem to be pretty engaged, asking questions are pertaining to legal terms that I don't quite understand, strict scrutiny versus intermediate scrutiny, this, that, and the third. But I did want to play you a clip from one of the TikTok lawyers' closing arguments. And this guy, first of all, TikTok's lawyers was nice. These niggas was on a job. I said, yo, sign me up for Bernstein and Sanders because I don't know the lawyer's name. I'm just making that shit up. But my point is the lawyers was nice. So I wanted to play you guys a quick clip from the closing arguments coming from the TikTok side, basically boiling it down to what this is. The banning of TikTok has fuck all to do with national security, is everything to do with the banning and restriction of free speech. The ideas that are set forth in the platform, socialism, anti-Zionism, anti-capitalism, people speaking out vociferously against the fascist ways and means of Biden and Trump. These things and these ideas flow freely on TikTok. And if you think that users are worried about China having our data, we are not worried about that. But what we are worried about is the restriction of platforms that allow people to be able to speak their minds truly. So let's go ahead and check out that clip.
TikTok platform could in the future somehow manipulate Americans, could somehow persuade them, could somehow get them to think something that they ought not be thinking. Well, that whole notion is at war with the First Amendment. If the First Amendment means anything, it means that the government cannot restrict speech in order to protect us from speech. That's precisely what this law does from beginning to end, whether you look at its text, whether you look at the government's justifications in its brief, where they talk about being worried about speech criticizing our leaders or undermining democracy. It's what you see in the House report, which drains specifically on the dangers of misinformation, disinformation, and propaganda. And it's what you see in this legislative record writ large, which is saturated with objections to TikTok's existing content. We ask that you reverse the court below. Thank you.
Thank you, counsel. The case is submitted.
Cases submitted to Supreme Court is reviewing the TikTok ban, its legitimacy, its constitutionality. And you know what it made me think about? Previous times in the United States history in which speech has been restricted. And of course, naturally, I thought about Black folks. I'm thinking about journalists like Ida B. Wells, who was persecuted and, threats upon her life for accurately reporting about the pervasiveness of lynchings across the South and across the Midwest. I'm thinking of the brother, and who his name escapes me, but he was the journalist who had the newspaper in Wilmington, North Carolina at the turn of the century, at the turn of the 20th century, um, that sparked the first successful coup d'etat on American soil, where a democratically elected government of Wilmington, North Carolina was overthrown by a violent racist mob. But what sparked that was an controversial at the time, though not controversial generally, a controversial editorial published by this Black man who owned a newspaper, talking about how, yes, white women do enjoy the company of Black men, and that is what it was in the South. But his printing press and his newspaper were destroyed in advance of Wilmington burning to the ground, right? Or at least the Black section of Wilmington burning to the ground. In recent times, post the Russian invasion of Ukraine, how many voices, Russian outlets, China sponsored outlets, were taken down from X, taken down from YouTube? We saw this happen in real time. So, this latest restriction of free speech coming in the form of a TikTok ban is truly the American way. When there is speech that threatens the state, right? And when I say the security of the state, I literally don't mean national security. I mean the state's ability to dominate the way of thinking for society, to only present limited views, limited perspectives, limited voices, limited information, for God's sakes. In America, we are so short-sighted of what happens around the world, what people are thinking around the world. And actually, in the face of this TikTok ban, I'm sure many of you guys have heard this already, but there is an app called Red Note that is 100% the Chinese Communist Party. And Americans and former TikTok users or current TikTok users are flocking to this platform, much to the chagrin, I would imagine, of the US government and all of the lawmakers that were frothing at the mouth trying to get TikTok banned. Now they have driven millions of people directly into the arms of a outright Chinese platform, Red Note, and people are waking up. People are having a broader idea of what it's like, for example, to live in the country that is America's sworn enemy at this point. And people are discovering that, hey, Chinese people live pretty good. The Communist Party is over there taking care of their people much better than the capitalist American government could ever think of, right? Regardless, this TikTok ban came under Joe Biden. It was proposed by Trump during his first term, though Trump now seems to have done an about face, which should surprise nobody, because you cannot hold Donald Trump to a particular position, because in 5 minutes he will change his mind. Trump could come out in some ways the hero out of this. His team has filed an amicus brief with the Supreme Court, trying to ask for a delay at minimum of 200 some odd days as to what the next steps will be pertaining to TikTok. Will they force the parent company ByteDance to divest and take on an American owner, or will the platform be allowed to remain, or will it be outright banned? But when we look at speech all around, as much as people are hand wringing, and I'm not here to say that Trump is not a threat. I'm not here to say that Trump is not dangerous. He is these things. But my argument is that, to me, Trump is not more dangerous than neoliberal Democrats, right? I don't see that per se. The threats about mass deportations are frightening and legitimate. But when we look at the numbers out of people that have been deported, the Biden and the Obama administration deported equal, if not bigger numbers than the Trump administration did. So, I mean, there's a laundry list of issues in which I would push back that Democrats are as scary as Trump. They just don't speak with the same sort of bluster and the same kind of rhetoric. And they don't sound nonsensical as Trump does. They present it better, right? And we're going to listen to a little bit of what Joe Biden had to say. But before we do that, I want to show you an example of how free speech has died and continues to die, even in the face of a TikTok ban. Members of the Biden administration are doing their farewells, and one of them was Secretary of State Tony Blinken, who at his presser was confronted by two journalists, Max Blumenthal and Sam Husseini. And I know you guys saw this earlier on the Remix Morning Show. I was happy to see them play it because I intended to play it tonight regardless. But I did want to show you the response. And number one, the confrontation, actually. The response was expected because, again, free speech doesn't live in America. And also, fellow journalists in America usually don't stand up for other journalists that are speaking truth to power, which is a sad state of affairs within itself. But listen close to how I was going to call him Matt Blumenthal. let me give Max a pass because Max did a good thing on here. So he's not Matt tonight. He is Max. He regains Max as his name. Max Blumenthal and Sam Husseini at Tony Blinken's final press conference as Secretary of State at the State Department. Let's take a listen.
300 reporters in Gaza were on the receiving end of your bombs. Why did you keep the bombs flowing when we had a deal in May? We all knew we had a deal. Everyone in this room knows we had a deal, Tony, and you kept the bombs flowing. Why did you sacrifice the rules-based order on the mantle of your commitment to Zionism? Why did you allow my friends to be massacred? Why did you allow my friends' homes in Gaza to be destroyed when we had a deal in May? You helped destroy our religion, Judaism, by associating it with fascism. You waved the white flag before Netanyahu.
We'll have the time to take questions at the end.
You waved the white flag before Israeli fascism.
We'll have the time to take questions
Your
at the end.
Your father-in-law was an Israel lobbyist. Your grandfather was an Israel lobbyist. Are you compromised by Israel? Why did you allow the Holocaust of our time to happen? How does it feel to have your legacy be genocide? How does it feel to have your legacy be genocide? You too, Matt. You smirk through the whole thing every day. You smirk through a genocide.
Thank you.
Sitting here quietly, and now I'm being manhandled by 2 or 3 people. You pontificate about a free press. You pontificate about a free press. You are hurting me. You are hurting me. You are hurting me. I'm asking questions after being told by Matt Miller that he will not answer my questions, and so I'm asking questions. Wasn't the point of the May 31st statement to block the ICJ orders? You blocked the ICJ orders.
Please, sir, respect the process.
Respect the process. Respect the process. Well, everybody from Amnesty International. From Amnesty International to the ICJ saying that Israel is doing genocide and extermination, and you're telling me to respect the process. Criminal, why aren't you in The Hague? Why aren't you in The Hague? Why aren't you in The Hague?
Whew. Love to see it. Hate that it had to happen, but I love to see it. Why aren't you in The Hague, Anthony Blinken? Have you been compromised by Israel? Excellent questions posed to the Secretary of State at his final presser. Why aren't you the fuck in jail, you goddamn ghoul? And listen, I don't pretend to understand the cultural ins and outs of what have you of the Jewish American community, but I felt awesome that Max Blumenthal basically told Tony Blinken, you're a bad Jew. Yes, finger wag him, shame him, yell at him, ask him, has he been compromised by Israel, which he clearly has. But how were these reporters asking very legitimate questions? Sam Husseini asking questions about the ICJ, International Court of Justice, arrest warrants out for Netanyahu and other members of his administration, talking about the declaration of numerous international human rights groups declaring the catastrophe in Gaza correctly as a genocide. And these people don't answer these questions, right? Usually they're not asked these questions. American media usually knows its place. They don't want to confront our leaders with difficult but obvious questions. Why? Because they want that exclusive interview. They want that access. They don't want their State Department press credentials to be compromised in any way because they got to be there. How else can I be a top-notch journalist if I'm asking, quote, bad questions? And then the people that are standing at the podium react with hostility and then punitively punish and, in this case, escort out. You don't have the right to ask questions of leaders in America. And I hope the world saw that. And mostly, I hope people in this country saw it. And I hope they understand the gravity of that scene, of those exchanges. We do not have a right to a free press. When you look at what happened during the summer of 2020 and 2021, we saw journalists in this country attacked at protest. They were attacked along with protesters with chemical munitions. They were attacked with rubber bullets. They were attacked with unjustified arrests. And Israel took it up many notches by outright targeting and murdering journalists by the hundreds. And that, to me, is an indictment about the hypocrisy of what freedoms that are allowed or freedoms that are, quote, given to us by the Bill of Rights and our Constitution. And as much as I've said this lots of times over the years, Black people, Indigenous people, Latinos, y'all and us, we don't have constitutional rights. And lo and behold, look, the whites don't have them either. You ask the right questions, or rather the wrong questions, you will be escorted out with force if need be. And these are the kinds of things that American government and our leaders attribute to Russia. These are the kinds of actions that are attributed to China. These are the kinds of actions that are attributed to so-called, quote, banana republics. And I just want to reiterate again, the shithole country is this one. Make absolute no mistake about it. Now, y'all's boy, Joseph Robinette Biden, this fucking decrepit ghoul, can't get out of office quick enough. And it's not so much that I'm in a rush to see Trump at the helm. No, the problem is our options are worse and worser. Okay, like there are no good options here. Like the end of the Biden administration does not signal anything worse or better coming down the pike, right? But Joe Biden had the audacity to try to get up there and issue a warning to the people, issue a warning to the public about days to come, but with little to no reflection about the days that he ruled the roost. And even his days as vice president, his days as a senator, Joe Biden has not been a man of the people. He has stood against working class people every step of the way. He has stood against racial progress every step of the way, every chance that he got. And he absolutely stood against the rights of Palestinian people to simply exist in the lands that they have occupied for thousands of years. But about the coming oligarchy, when Joe Biden said that shit, I had to laugh. And y'all gonna laugh too. I'm sure you've seen this clip, but we're gonna run it anyway to remind y'all that Joe Biden, while he speaks ominously about the oligarchy, obviously he's referring to Bezos, Zuckerberg, Musk, and whoever else. But meanwhile, wasn't it the Biden administration awarding Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos defense contracts. Doesn't Elon Musk and doesn't SpaceX have a big government defense contract that in part, like some of it was awarded under the, like, nigga, what the fuck are you talking about? These oligarchs that you also helped to embolden? Oh, them oligarchs? Anyway, let's take a listen to Robinette the Ghoul saying goodbye.
I want to warn the country of some things that give me great concern. This is a dangerous concentration, and that's a dangerous concentration of power in the hands of a very few ultra-wealthy people. The dangerous consequences if their abuse of power is left unchecked. Today, an oligarchy is taking shape in America of extreme wealth, power, and influence that literally threatens our entire democracy, our basic rights and freedoms, and a fair shot for everyone to get ahead. I'm equally concerned about the potential rise of a tech industrial complex that could pose real dangers for our country as well. Americans are being buried under an avalanche of misinformation and disinformation, enabling the abuse of power. The free press is crumbling. Editors are disappearing. Social media is giving up on fact-checking. The truth is smothered by lies told for power and for profit. We must hold the social platforms accountable to protect our children, our families, and our very democracy from the abuse of power.
Audacious, as I said. Biden has all these wonderful ideas, all these, important ideological mandates. We must hold the social media platforms accountable. We're facing a tech oligarchy. Fact checking is moving away from social media platforms. The fuck did you do about it? Like, what did you personally do about it? What did, for the first 2 years of your administration, what did the democratically controlled Congress, like, what the fuck did y'all do? On occasion, they would bring Zuckerberg and Elon up to Capitol Hill, and they would sit in front of these Senate committees and receive minor tongue lashings. And that's where it ended, right? What did the Biden administration do to put in some guardrails around the development and the evolution, the rapid evolution of artificial intelligence, of AI? Like, what did you do besides take the money? Besides, you want to decry the free press crumbling? It has crumbled at your behest. The TikTok ban is an example of that. But even going back further, under Democratic rule, and I'll never forgive Bill Clinton for this. The 1996 Telecommunications Act, which allowed the ownership consolidation of different media entities to be held by corporations. It used to be against the law. You guys can't even conceive of this, some of y'all youngsters out here. But for example, an iHeartRadio was not allowed to own multiple radio stations in the same market. A media outlet couldn't own a TV station and radio. Like, it was clear rules of delineation that all went away with the stroke of a Democratic president's pen, Bill Clinton. And obviously caused the elimination of thousands of jobs in media, which of course is much to my personal consternation. But regardless, it's just really rich for Joe Biden, who was there every step of the way of this erosion of free press and the immersion and dominance of social media, and nothing was done under his watch. But he wants to warn us of the coming days. Well, young kids who are on social media, Instagram, Facebook, and the like, our young people are suffering from record rates of depression, of anxiety, of body dysmorphia, of eating disorders, of a lot of things, social isolation. All of this can be attributed to social media, and Facebook and the rest of them were allowed to grow rapidly and unchecked with little to no oversight. And it's funny that he even raised the fact that social media platforms, obviously he was speaking about Meta. I even hate to say Meta because fuck these motherfuckers. Like, I can't. No, y'all ain't gonna change the Facebook, nigga. Instagram. But regardless, Mark Zuckerberg announced that Facebook was getting rid of fact checkers, and Joe Biden, I'm not certain if it's a good thing or a bad thing for that matter, because to the level of the misinformation and disinformation that's on, it depends on whoever's doing the fucking fact checking, right? To be a fact checker does not denote an objective assessment of a statement, right? People do have their political leanings and biases, though I'm inclined to believe that any fact checker working for Meta, for example, would have an inclination towards the right, or an inclination towards the MAGA perspective, as it will. So anyway, I just have to laugh at all of this, y'all, because I said we're moving from a shadow period to a period of darkness. I would agree wholly with that, right? And while Trump does represent a unique brand of authoritarianism, America has been headed in this direction for some time under both Democratic and Republican leadership. Why? Because they are the oligarchy. They are the handmaidens, if you will. They are the do boys and girls of the oligarchs, of the billionaires. Congress and the president don't represent the people. They represent the interest of the money that has the ability to buy speech and buy power. And that doesn't include us. And it hasn't included us. And I know that people of color, working class people, poor people should have known this. It's funny to see working class whites and even somewhat moneyed middle class whites come to this realization, a la a Luigi Maglione and others coming to the realization that, oh, y'all will stick the police on us too. Yes. Oh, insurance companies won't cover your catastrophic loss of your property either, right? So what kind of freedom is that? What kind of freedoms are those to defend and uphold and say that we have the best system in the world? And I'm glad people are getting an opportunity via Red Note and TikTok and others, and to be able to glimpse into other countries and realize that no, Americans do have it bad. We really do have it bad. People come to this country as immigrants and they realize that all Americans do is fucking work. There is no work-life balance. There is no social safety net. And as bad as those things are at the moment, they absolutely will get worse under authoritarian Trump. Make no mistake about it. So in addition to free speech going away, the idea of competition on the capitalist market, that is also a farce. I hope everybody's realizing that, especially people that use TikTok. Man, I'm gonna tell y'all, I'm gonna be very sad. I'll be very sad. But I will make this promise though. Should TikTok survive, I will become a TikTok poster of sorts. I just don't be liking to put a camera in my face all the time. I appreciate the people that be on there making content with their bonnets and shit. I'm like, yes. Imani Barberin on occasion will post a video in her bonnet. I said, look at the confidence. You know what I'm saying? I'm too insecure to do those kinds of things. But should TikTok survive, which it's not clear whether it will, actually what is going to happen is this on Sunday, I guess what it is, that the 19th, when the app goes away. If you don't already have it downloaded on your phone, it's not going to be available in app stores. It won't be available to be updated. But I'm not sure what's going to happen to all the content that has already been created. I'm not sure if people are going to see their videos and their entire accounts gone away. I don't know. But to me, the Supreme Court has an opportunity to kind of slightly redeem itself. The court is enjoying historically low approval ratings, right? Like if you think that the president and Congress are unpopular, the Supreme Court, for obvious reasons, as an institution is deeply unpopular. And that compromises, I guess when people abandon faith in an institution, then why are we giving any power, any credence to said institution? As soon as we stop believing in it, in its authority etc., it loses its influence upon us, at least in the court of public opinion. So the Supreme Court, if y'all want to score some cool points, if y'all want to get back on the board, you should rule in favor of TikTok and rule against the government, because we understand that under capitalism, our information, our data is the product. We are the product, right? Meta, Facebook, Twitter, these platforms fall apart if people stop using them, people stop posting them. If we stop importing our personal information into these apps, they go away, they lose their relevance. But my point is, as many TikTok users have stated, that they don't give a fuck if China has our goddamn information. Who the fuck don't have our information? Target leaked out all of our shit. Experian, TransUnion, what are the credit reporting bureaus? Everyone has leaked Americans' information. It's out there. There is fuck all that China can discover about me that's probably not already available on the dark web, courtesy of a data breach from one of 24 places where all of our data resides. The US government wants to maintain exclusive ability to surveil us, to track us, to warehouse and archive our data. They don't want China to have that opportunity. And to be quite honest, I don't give a fuck what China does, dog. I don't give a. China already know my social. China could open up a line of credit, or they could try anyway. Now I don't know about what my credit, but they could give it a shot. There's nothing that China could find out or discover about me that I could give a goddamn that would be worth us sacrificing TikTok for. So we're gonna send up some prayers of encouragement for TikTok. And be clear, TikTok ain't perfect out here. TikTok does its own little fuckery and its own little censorship. But it does do a much better job of allowing certain bits of thought, certain bits of ideology to proliferate, and for people to have better perspective and to gain much more awareness. But for TikTok, would the groundswell of support and solidarity for Palestinians, would it have been what it has been over the past year and a half? I'm not sure that it would be. Let me take a quick break here, kiddies. Thanks, guys. Thank y'all for hanging out. It's Burn It Down with Kim Brown. I see we have over 100 folks jamming with us today. Please give the video a like if you don't mind. Your auntie would appreciate it. I want to thank Susan Ara. Susan sent us an unexpected Cash App donation. Thank you so much, Susan, for your support. We certainly appreciate that. If you want to support the platform, we take it, baby. All kinds. BIDWKB, that's us on Cash App, Venmo, paypal.me/BIDWKB, and patreon.com/BIDWKB. Quick shout out to our Around the Fire Disability Support Sesh facilitators, especially Mama Lorraine, Anna Hart, Learn Life Abby, Sweary Ferry. We had a wonderful support sesh last Saturday. Every second Saturday of the month, I am a disabled creator. We have a disability support sesh. Why do we talk about disability rights? Well, number one, because disability sucks. It does suck. But living in an inaccessible and ableist world sucks even worse. The disability, you can live with the disability. It's the ableism and the fucking inaccessibility that make the shit worser. You know what I mean? And sometimes we need to commiserate around those things. We need to have space to dialogue and strategize. You know what I'm saying? The wildfires out in California sort of bring that to the fore. The need for disabled people in particular and caregivers in particular to be able to be ready for when shit falls down, right? And you still have to survive out here. So I want to thank our Around the Fire Disability Support Sesh folks for coming through, hanging out, and giving us great discussions.
Can we thank Mama Lorraine for a super chat as well?
Hey, thank you, Mama Lorraine. Thank you. Cynical, didn't you send us a super chat last week and Will didn't mention it? Thank you, Cynical. I appreciate. I think it was cynical. I'm not sure, but someone sent us a super chat and we forgot to acknowledge them. But thank you. Will, didn't you have something? Did you want to hold your announcement, or did you want to talk to the people?
Yeah, you can hold it.
Okay, we're gonna hold that for the moment. So come on in here, everybody. Thanks for hanging out. Don't forget, go support the comrades at a myriad of different platforms, but of course, Black Liberation Media on YouTube. Please go support Status Quo. Please go support Make It Plain, Dr. Kahinde Andrews. Fucks with Dr. Andrews. Dr. Andrews is brilliant and hilarious out here. So thank you so much. Who else we like out here? We like a lot of folks. So a shout out. Hmm? Who is this? Purge the BS. Old Howard County crew. Who in the fuck could that be? Shout out to Howard County. Lord have mercy, I guess. Y'all ever seen The Wire produced by that sucker nigga David Simon? He is a sucker nigga, by the way. Anyway, but the nigga can write, but he's a sucker nigga. He's a sucker MC. Anyway, the season of The Wire where it was focused on the kids, and there was this one episode where all the kids was hanging out, and the kids was talking about Howard County. You don't want to go to Howard County. The Klan is out there. And I'm like, yep, that kids, you right. I grew up in Howard County. And yes, the Klan is out there. Accurate children. What's up, Mike Mack? Mike Mack, you've been coming through here with the good support, brother. Thank you so much for that Cash App support. Thank you. We appreciate it. Oh, did someone else send something? Because y'all know I can't have fucking read. But anyway, so yeah. So I want to get to this next story because I don't say I like to report about the dirt bags, but I think it's important to report about the dirt bags because even while we're dealing with all kinds of societal and governmental changes and etc., we still have some issues going on within our society that need constant addressing, rebuke, and awareness. And that is the issue of pervasive sexual assault in our culture. Dare I call it rape culture? Because you guys, the R word, I don't even know what to say on social media platforms because I know they be dinging, they be flagging certain words and will suppress the content. I don't know why. No one's promoting the R word, but we are promoting the abolition of the R word. And most importantly, we need to abolish motherfuckers that commit these gross atrocities and violations against people's bodily autonomy. And tragically, one of the main groups that are victims of sexual assault, tragically, are children. Why are kids victims? Well, because children are vulnerable. Children don't have a voice. And shockingly enough, kids aren't really believed when they make reports about sexual assault, right? And as much as I center women and girls, boys need our help out here. Boys and men need our help because we don't like to think about boys and men as being survivors of sexual assault. The numbers estimate that 1 in 6 boys are victims of childhood sexual abuse. The numbers are 1 in 4 girls. Can I wait before I go? What happens when we reverse those numbers? Hold on. What I mean by that is if 1 in 6 boys are victims of sexual abuse and 1 in 4 girls are victims of sexual abuse, girls, talking about children here, what is that? How does that reverse to the number of adults committing said abuses? Are you guys following me on this? I wasn't good at ratios, nor was I good at math, but what does those numbers translate into the prevalence of perpetrators, especially perpetrators of sexual violence against kids? Are we at 1 in 4 adults? Yikes. Like I don't know how those numbers reverse, but I was thinking about that the other day. I'm like, wait a second. 1 in 6, 1 in 4. What does that say for the number of adults that are committing these assaults? Like, is it 1 in 10, 1 in 3? Like, what the fuck? Those numbers kind of boggled my goddamn mind. But we don't like to think about women as sexual predators. And while women do not by any scale commit the amount of sex abuse against kids as men do, it happens. And when it happens, put them bitches on the fucking Summer Jam screen. Show us who the fuck are these disgusting, perverted women that would take advantage of a child. And this story coming out of New Jersey kind of blew my mind, right? And anytime, it all blows my fucking mind, to be perfectly honest. I think it was the age of the kid and the extent of the abuse that really fucked me up. So I want us to go to, where are we at? Glassboro, New Jersey? Where would y'all consider that? Is that Central or South Jersey? Regardless, let's go ahead to New Jersey and check out this story. And of course, this predator is the demographic. When I say the demographic, I mean the demographic who is most likely to see a fucking fifth grader and be like, yup, that's the one. Oh my God, drown these bitches in the goddamn Schuylkill River. We'll go ahead and cue up that story and let's go ahead and run it.
He was trusted by the school district and by parents. But tonight, a fifth grade teacher in Cape May Courthouse is accused of having a sexual relationship with one of her students. Detectives say the abuse started when the child was 11 and lasted for years, and that the two share a child. Wednesday night, I'm Shari Williams. Rick has the night off. The big story on Action News tonight is a South Jersey teacher behind bars accused of sexually assaulting a young boy and having a child with him. Action News reporter Leland Pinder has the story from Cape May County, and detectives say the investigation is far from over.
Middle Township Police and the Cape May County Prosecutor's Office both investigating here. Prosecutors say these alleged crimes occurred between 2016 and 2020, but the arrests just coming Wednesday. They're now asking anyone that might have even more information to please come forward. Once a fifth grade teacher, now behind bars with bond revoked. 34-year-old Laura Karen was taken into custody at a home on Orbit Drive Wednesday in Cape May Courthouse. Prosecutors allege she sexually assaulted a former student for several years and had his baby.
Do you know Miss Karen? There's nothing to see here. There's no one that wants to speak with you.
This unidentified man pulled up to the home while we were there. A short time later, another woman appeared from the home after we'd already left.
Do you want to talk to us?
No, I want you to
You came outside, please. I'm willing to talk to you. Authorities say the abuse began when the victim was 11 years old. According to the criminal complaint, a few years later, Karen gave birth to the victim's baby. Karen taught at Middle Township Elementary No. 2, and the victim was once her student. Prosecutors say Karen and the victim's family became friends, leading to the victim and his siblings staying overnight with Karen once or twice a week, but at some point they began living with Karen permanently. Investigators say the case came to light last month when the victim's father posted on social media saying Karen's 5-year-old child looked very similar to him and his son. Neighbors say the arrest Wednesday appeared discreet. This woman said she saw multiple black SUVs but didn't realize they were police.
If it's true, I feel sorry for the people.
According to the prosecutor's office, the school district will have support services and counselors available for students, teachers, or families who may need that in light of this news. We did reach out to the school district for comment, but did not hear back. Here in the community at Cape May Courthouse, Leland Pinder, Channel 6, Action News.
Let me tell you how absolutely nauseating that is, that a grown woman would take advantage of an 11-year-old boy. And there's a lot of things to unpack here. First of all, as much as we say, and this is accurate, that Black girls are sexualized early in terms of them being viewed as sexual objects when they are still girls, little girls, even though they may develop. God forbid your 10-year-old has big breasts. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's going to be viewed as older. She is going to be, and all this is projected upon the child. The child is not doing anything but simply existing in a developing body. But the way that older behavior, especially sexual behavior, is projected onto Black girls is something that has been noted, but I don't think we deep it in the same way for Black boys, right? And Black boys do themselves develop early, or young. Let's put it that way. And the difference is you just see it in their physique, right? When I was in middle school, a lot of my little boy classmates were, in fact, not little boys in their size and their stature, right? You got these 11, 12-year-olds that's 6 feet. You know what I'm saying? Size 13 shoe, big as a motherfucker, but they still kids. They are not on the available sexual menu for adults. I don't give a fuck how tall or how cute the 11-year-old is. He's 11. 11. Not even a teen. He's a boy. And for any adult woman to find that sexually arousing, you are aroused by an 11-year-old, bitch, somebody needs to, I can't even say put hands on you. They need to put hands and feet upon your face. And not just the disgusting, deplorable adult that would take advantage of this child. This child was failed in a myriad of ways. And I can't speak to whatever the kid's home life situation was. But for this child's parents or its guardians or its family members to feel comfortable to allow the child and its siblings to live, to spend multiple nights overnight and eventually move in with the fucking teacher, you don't know this bitch. And this is what parents need to understand. You have to have your head on a swivel 24/7 all the time, because you don't know who the predator is. The predator is not only the creepy motherfuckers catcalling little girls as they are walking home from school. No, the predators are their teachers. The predators are their youth pastors. The predators are their coaches. The predators are the parents of their friends. The predators are the friends of the parents. And we have to stop just readily signing over the kids or allowing any adult who can speak good and who seems responsible, who's not going to let the kids starve. That doesn't mean that this person gets to have unfettered, unsupervised access to your children. Teacher, coach, pastor, I don't give a fuck. And we have to stop playing dumb. Like we don't know people that come from these walks of life or from these professions themselves are not known predators. Firefighters, cops, name it. Predators occupy every single space in our society and our culture. And part of the reason why they are successful at getting access to their kids, to getting access to your kids, to the community's kids, is because they are excellent at wearing masks. They are great at presenting themselves as safe and responsible and trusted. The answer is no. If your child wants to, I don't give a fuck. Like, shout out to the Franklins. I've heard Brother Kamal say this on a number of occasions. These kids can't spend the night no fucking where. Nowhere, over nobody's house. That is but the kids get to have not knowing what we know now. That shit could fly, and it shouldn't have been flying when Gen X was kids, right? No. Absolutely not. Also, what about the institutions? Where was the state? Per the package, this child first began to endure this abuse from this woman when they were 11. The relationship went on for 5 years. I can't even call it a relationship, but shame on me. That's not a relationship. The abuse went on for 4 to 5 years. This woman has a baby by this little boy. Where were the parents? I am asking, where were the parents? Where were the family? And I'm assuming, I'm trying to give the family the benefit of the doubt, because my guess is that this is a non-white child. It's very much giving Mary Kay Letourneau. Has someone already said that in the chat? Mary Kay Letourneau, for those of y'all that don't know, over, Jesus, what was that, 20 some years ago? This fucking cave bitch, this fucking bitch molested and abused her student, who I think was 13 at the time, had a kid with him. She went to jail. They had eventually had a family, and it was kind of viewed very much as this, May, September relationship, but not taken into consideration that this boy was a boy. He was a brown boy. I can't remember what his specific ethnicity was. He was brown. I think maybe it was Polynesian, Pacific Islander. I can't 100% recall, but he was not white, and very obviously not white. And he was not given the benefit of boyhood, of childhood. They looked at it as, oh, this was a forbidden love affair. This wasn't no fucking forbidden love affair. This bitch was his rapist. She abused him, took advantage of him, forced him into parenthood as a teen boy, as a little child. And the media just looked at it as, oh, it was forbidden denial love. Fuck all that shit. My guess is that this kid is not white. My guess is that this kid very well may in fact be black. I'm not sure. But shame on this child's parents for simply posting about it on social media. Hey, Karen's son, look, her baby looked like me and my baby. You didn't think to drop a dime to Child Protective Services. Not that they would have done fuck all about it either. I'm certain that the only reason that this woman is facing any kind of charges, because there's no way in the world that only she, the child, and I guess one of the child's parents knew about this abuse and knew that this boy had fathered a baby with this fucking gross woman. And gang, I wish I could tell you the signs of predation all together, but I don't know exactly what it looks like coming from a woman. Right. And I'm even trying to get into the mind state, into the motivation of this woman, besides her just being disgusting. Like, what happened? My guess is that maybe she herself is a survivor of abuse, perhaps in her childhood. Maybe when she was in middle school aged, she was insecure. She wasn't able or being chosen by the cute boys in school. So now as a woman, as an adult, an authority figure over these children, you see a boy that you would have thought was cute when you were 11, except you're fucking 28. And you say, oh, if I was in 7th grade, I'd be getting with him. But you're not in 7th grade, dummy. Like there's something there. There's something to that. There's some past trauma, some deep insecurity, and undoubtedly some predation there, and some sort of advantage that this woman undoubtedly had in the form of her position of power as a teacher over a student, and as a white woman over what I'm assuming was a non-black child. And they need to put her fucking ass under the goddamn jail. And I hope wherever she's being held, Middletown Township, County Jail, stomp her the fuck out. Okay? Like she don't get to just fucking move around, even in the county jail, like the shit is all good. I hope the sisters that's behind that wall, because you heard she was being held without bond. If she's got a celly, or the women's in the lockup got access to her, please put hands and feet on her immediately. And I need the state to go and check on this child sex abuse survivor. Please go check on his siblings, because they must be in danger also. If they ever lived with this woman, or if they were even in the guardianship of their parents, I have lots of questions about the safety and status of the other siblings, and about the safety and status of the baby that was born to this little boy, to this teen. I guess he's a teen boy now. But how does that affect him going forward, right? Like what does that look like? What does survivors, boy survivors, male survivors of childhood sex abuse that were not assaulted by another man, but in fact assaulted by a woman, like, we have to disavow this notion, like this high-fiving of boys if they pull an older woman, right? In the same way, if we're talking about like say like shit anyway, when I was 13, of course there was grown men trying to holler. Okay, like, and as a 13-year-old, you don't got good sense, you know what I'm saying? You think you the shit, like, oh shit, this 19-year-old trying to talk to me, I must be mature. I must be fine, I must be cute out here. No, in the same way that we give men that are much older than women that they pursue, the same way that we give them the side eye, you have to look at women the same way. But I don't mean in the sense that if you are 45 dating a 25-year-old, those are a situation, we're talking about consenting adults. And sure, we can kind of side eye that. But again, we're talking about consenting adults. But there is something odd in the pursuit of kids. For anybody that is over the age of 18 and you're pursuing someone that is 3 years or more younger than you, there's something weird there. And that should be sending off red flags to everybody. And it's not a flex for these little boys, or for if say for example the survivor, the abuse survivor, if his friends knew that the teacher had the hots for him, like somebody should have told. But my guess is that the child's parents had some sort of idea. And I don't know, it's all very fucked up. But my point is this: boy survivors, boy victims need as much of our attention and our support in our belief when they say that they are being abused. Or unfortunately, because boys are socialized not to verbally express their feelings, we have to take notice of their behavior and the behavior of the weird ass adult that's paying them too much attention. Maybe that's the first red flag. If the adult is paying too much fucking attention, if they are handsy, if they are touchy feely, if they have a pet name for the kid, as or in you know, in the vein that you would call a romantic partner a pet name, like, no, these things are not acceptable and they have to be called out. But there was probably some white savior shit going on there, some white savior complex. Oh, Teacher Karen says that she'll let the kids stay over if, you know, if we need a break or if we have to work, or, you know, fuck all that shit. No, this ain't Dangerous Minds. You know what I'm saying? We don't do that white savior shit. Let that be. On the lookout for dirtbags of all gender identities. Okay. Please don't be under the impression that women cannot be out here taking advantage. Don't be under the impression that women cannot be predators, right? Don't think that. Please be vigilant and guard your kids all the way. Nobody is safe with your children. Nobody. Nobody. And that's a sad indictment of our society. But unfortunately, we live in such a perverse place. We live in such a dystopic society. We live in a place where people who have these thoughts and feelings, that they're not able to go and seek help. Ultimately, predators need help. They need hands and feet put upon their face and head. Yes. But I'm dreaming of a world in which a predator can seek help in advance before preying on a victim. And we don't live in such a society. But until we do, I advocate for violencia against all the predators of all genders, of all ages, of all races, of everything. Socioeconomic strata, I don't give a fuck. Stomp them out. Let me take a little break, Ipu. And it's going to be a little break because it's already 9:00 and you guys have been amazeballs hanging out with me tonight. Thank you so much. It's Burn It Down with Kim Brown, the Friday edition. Guys, before I go on, I got to tell you, I'm in Maryland. I'm in Prince George's County, Maryland. I'm right outside of DC. And I would like to tell Chicago, James, you in here? Chicago, Detroit, Alicia, Twin Cities. Hey, I need y'all to come get your weather. So somebody, Chicago and Minneapolis, y'all accidentally left y'all weather here in the DMV, and we need y'all to please come and collect it. Please and thank you. I will be leaving it right outside of National Airport gates, and we will send it on the first one-way nonstop back to Chicago. Nigga, it has been in the single fucking digits. And while today we had a tiny bit of a respite, I think temperatures knocked on 40, hovered around 40. They're telling us that the temperatures are about to plunge again. The polar vortex is going to return, and we are going to see temperatures in the single digits and wind chills in the negatives. And I said, if I wanted to live in Chicago, and I love y'all know I love the shit out of Chicago. Could never live in fucking Chicago. Why? Because I never survived the winter. Why? Because I'm allergic to cold. Allergic to cold. I hate cold. I hate snow. I hate wind chills. I hate having to bundle up. It's a cold winter. Y'all niggas better bundle up, and I better be a hotter summer. Grab an onion just to rock it down. We hot now. Listen up. I'm not here for winter in no shape, form, or any of that, right? And I get the winter blues. I hate cold. I'm a July baby, and I hate it real bad. So Chicago, Minneapolis, please come get this fucking weather, because I disagree and I would like to unsubscribe, please and thank you. Okay, that was my I hate winter vent. I just had to get that off my chest because I hate it so bad. So bad. So, from a final story, imperialism and colonization, right? Shit that America is really, really good at in a bad way. How many territories does the U.S. have? Is it 5? Let's count them. U.S. Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, Guam, the Marinara Islands, and then there one more. What's the 5th? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th? Well, that's 4. That's 4 too goddamn many. Oh, well, I guess DC could be considered a territory because Washingtonians do not have full writing votes, full voting rights. Did I say writing votes? Wow. Full voting rights. Washington, D.C. does not have a voting member of Congress. So, yeah, I guess that's 5 territories. Well, Trump wants to make some more territories. He says Canada should become a U.S. territory. Wow. Canadians, y'all should come down here and fuck Trump up for that. Punch him right in the face. Who else? Oh, yeah, he wants to reclaim the Panama Canal. And, which is bad, by the way. No. No. Let Panama have its things, whatever. Greenland was the kicker, right? And apparently Greenland has been in the crosshairs of these, mineral speculators, because apparently Greenland is under the permafrost, is sitting on lots of lithium, for example, in addition to a number of other precious metals that, of course, are going to be valuable for the manufacturing of electronic devices, EV batteries, etc., and the cashmere sweater. However, Greenland says, the fuck? And I appreciate, thank you again to TikTok. I appreciate this package because I don't think I would have gotten this perspective many other places. However, whereas I thought Greenland was akin to Iceland, and Iceland, full of like the whitest whites, right? Like super whites, right? I thought Greenland also was full of super whites. The fuck did I know? I didn't know. But no, Greenland is actually full of brown people. Did y'all know this? I did not know this. The indigenous Inuit people, the Inuits, same Inuits that we have up in northern Canada, Inuits in Alaska, the Inuits, righteous, shout out to the Inuits. They have thoughts, concerns, questions, rebuttals, responses to Donald Trump's threat that they will be annexed or purchased or conquered. I'm not exactly sure how Trump intends to acquire Greenland, but the Greenlanders themselves said that we're already under the subjugation of the Danish under Denmark, right? They're already under Danish. Well, I think they're semi-autonomous, but actually the package is going to explain it way better. And I thought this was so interesting. I wanted to bring it to you guys because it learned me something that I previously did not know. So let's listen to the indigenous voices from Greenland and how they would really love it if Trump were to keep their land's name out of his disgusting mouth. Let's take a listen.
Should not be able to purchase a people.
U.S. President-elect Donald Trump says he wants to take control of Greenland, potentially using military force. But this indigenous parliamentarian says Greenlanders won't be colonized again.
Saying that you are allowed to buy our land is the same as saying that you want to buy a people. That is something we used to see before the Second World War, where it was common to colonize all over the world and even have slaves. It is our country, the Inuit population, our voices that should be heard.
On January 7th, incoming U.S. President Donald Trump repeated his desires to take control of Greenland for what he claims are national security purposes. He said he wouldn't rule out invading the island by force. Greenland is the world's largest island and home to over 56,000 people, mostly indigenous Inuit. The territory hosts a large U.S. military base that was used by the U.S. during its Cold War with the Soviet Union. Expanding the base forcibly displaced indigenous communities. The U.S. has been upgrading its missile defense system on the base in recent years. And in 2019, Trump said Greenland should belong to the U.S. for strategic reasons.
We are a people and we have right to our own country and our own self-determination, which is often all overlooked because of the colonial history we have with Denmark.
Donald Trump's quest for Greenland has been compared to Western imperialism, but the indigenous people of Greenland are still battling their own colonizer. Denmark colonized Greenland in the early 1700s. During colonization, Inuit women were forcibly sterilized and had their children taken away from them. Though it gained home rule in 1979 and self-rule in 2009, Denmark still controls its territory's foreign affairs and defense policy, and Greenlanders still face barriers to full equality.
They created apartheid rule. For example, if you were a Greenlandic Inuk, you were by definition and law were supposed to have less pay than a Danish person. We have experienced major racism. Denmark has been really good at denying and portrayed themselves as this good colonizer that always did these experiments on the Inuit people for a good cause because they cared for us. And I do believe that that's one of the reasons that we to this day have these strains with the Danish population as we do.
Many Greenlanders want full independence. Under Danish law, the island has been able to declare independence by referendum since 2009. Greenland's current prime minister is also making calls for independence to break from what he called the shackles of the colonial era.
We usually say we are the Arctic as well. It's not just a vast area with nothing at sight. It's actually a full living community with living and breathing cultures and languages. And we think it's important to have that in mind as well.
Can I say, the colonizers are nothing if not fucking consistent, right? Denmark colonized Greenland in the 1700s, sterilized indigenous women, stole their children, committed medical experiments upon the indigenous people there. I'm like, God damn, what the fuck? Like, did all the Europeans read from the same fucking book of terribleness? I'm like, this sounds strangely like what indigenous people in North America endured. It sounds strangely like what Aboriginal people in Australia endured, what the Maori people in New Zealand endured, what Pacific Islanders have endured from colonizing Europeans. The Hawaiians endured all this. something is the matter. I don't know what is there something in the water in Europe? What is it, y'all? What is it? How come Africans and Asians, don't get me wrong, shit wasn't always perfect. It wasn't always, everybody hugging and kumbaya on the continent of Africa or in Asia for that matter. Shit was going on. People was capturing and colonizing each other. But goddamn, it just seems like the Europeans did that shit on scales of atrocity that just don't make any sense, that are unfathomable. And they don't seem upset about it. They don't seem repentant. They're not trying to do better. They're not trying to ameliorate the situation. They're not trying to recompense for the native people that they have done this to. But back to Greenland. I hope you guys got something from that, because that was an eye opener for me, and shame on me for not knowing about the native indigenous people of Greenland. And also, part of the reason that Trump wants to capitalize or conquer or, obtain Greenland, in addition to the minerals and precious metals that reside under the ice, as global warming accelerates, as the glaciers and the polar ice begins to melt and recede, the Arctic is going to be a competitive place for the world superpowers, especially for energy extraction, for oil drilling, for all of that shit. The US, Russia, and China and the Northern European countries are all scrambling to try to figure out who is going to capitalize and start extracting fossil fuels basically from the Arctic first, and who's going to have control over these lands. And having control over Greenland gives the US the upper hand, or rather a bigger strategic footprint in getting access to that area in the Arctic. And I'm not sure what Trump is going to do here. I know Trump talks a lot of shit that he's not able to back up. He chanted build that wall for 4 fucking years and small sections of the wall got built. He said Mexico was going to pay for it. That didn't happen. I mean, Trump makes a lot of grandiose proclamations and promises that obviously, he's not able to deliver upon. But I think that the people of Greenland should not take him for a joke. You should never take the US president for a joke at what they say, because ultimately, whether or not he has the political will to do it, the military ability is absolutely there for Greenland to be seized by force. And I hope that does not happen. But first and foremostly, I hope the indigenous people of Greenland are able to get autonomy from their current colonizer, Denmark. And I appreciate the sister saying that Denmark presents itself as a benevolent colonizer. Like, the only reason they ever sterilized the indigenous women was for their own good. The only reason they ever committed medical experiments upon them was for their own good, Well, why don't y'all do that to your own fucking people? For your own goddamn good. Because it's easier to treat non-white life as disposable and not recognize non-whites as fully human, as people who live, feel, and unfortunately ultimately suffer. These are things that the colonizers do not concern themselves about. But we're going to see, you guys, because next week Trump resumes his position in the Oval Office. He has promised a lot of things on day one. What some of those things are going to be, the J6 hostages getting their pardons. That's going to be hilarious. And listen, guys, don't get me wrong. As I say that we're moving into a period of darkness, we are currently in a shadow period, moving into a period of further darkness. And I know the shit that Trump is about to do is not going to be funny. In fact, it's going to be deadly serious. But can we laugh when he does exonerate the J6 hostages? when he pardons that rabble of rowdy whites, rowdy, fecal smearing, police punching, bear mace spraying whites. When he releases these rowdy whites back into the wild, yes, we can have a chuckle about that. I understand that we have Black and brown political prisoners languishing, and it's definitely deeply unfair that obvious law-breaking whites are going to be given a pass. And we should lament that. We should point to that. We should call that out. That should bring us, frowns to our faces. But it is going to be hilarious as the liberals pull their hair out over how Trump has released the J6 whites from captivity. I will chuckle about that. I'm not going to hold you. I'm also going to chuckle when Trump holds, or rather allows, the tech billionaire oligarchs to sit on stage as he is being inaugurated. By the way, they announced today that the inauguration is going to be held indoors because it's going to be cold as shit in DC on fucking Tuesday, as I just told you, because Chicago left this weather down here. We need y'all to come get that, please. But it's going to be an interesting parade of characters to see who's going to be sitting up there with Trump. The people that are going to be performing at inauguration, people are upset about that. I'm like, I don't care, you guys. I didn't have high hopes for Carrie Underwood's politics anyway. She's from Shakota, Oklahoma, okay? She can sing her ass off, yes, but we should not be surprised at Carrie Underwood's willingness to perform for Donald Trump. Regardless, guys, I need everybody to buckle up. I need everybody to understand that that we are going to be in for a wild ride. We don't know what liberties and freedoms are going to be further restricted under Trump, but we should expect that they will be. Tragically, as the authoritarian rises into power, we're still going to see the devastating effects of climate change. We are going to see more and more natural disasters. I encourage you all to follow prepper channels, follow Warrior Class over on Black Liberation Media. It's important that we start to assemble our supplies. We don't know, as in addition to the climate catastrophes, America continues to crumble from the inside, from our piss poor infrastructure, from the, as much as the oligarch billionaires continue not only to exploit our labor, but exploit the resources of the land. We have to anticipate that things that we may take for granted in our everyday life, shelter, power, access to communications devices, access to clean water, these things could indeed be compromised going forward. So we need to start strategizing. We need to start assembling our supplies, our necessities, medications, figuring out how we're going to clean water, get your power blocks or whatever the fuck. I don't know. But figure out what that looks like for you, what that looks like for your household, what that looks like for your family, what that looks like for your pets, in addition, and what that looks like for your community. Because it's about to be a bumpy ride. So let's go ahead and buckle up. And I think I'm gonna turn y'all loose. Will, have you anything for the folks to say?
We want to thank Gang Green for the super chat. He said they say I am a white and we fucking suck. Sorry.
Gang Green. It's first of all, you don't suck. I'm sorry. Is there more? I'm gonna let you finish.
Yeah, and Vesper had a message about new music his new music drops every Friday.
Boom. DJ Vesper X on Instagram. Please go follow Vesper X and check out his new music. Gang Green Thumb, let me address what you said there. First of all, you can't suck, okay? Because you're here. All the whites that are present absolutely do not suck. How could you suck and be here and listen to this ranty Black woman, air all of her grievances from this white-owned platform? The problem with the whites is we need y'all to abandon the whiteness. That's it. That's it. As soon as you abandon whiteness and white supremacy, you're clean. You're in the clear. Not in the clear per se, but you are on the road to redemption, baby. And self-awareness is a critical component of that. Understanding and accepting of the accurate histories that have happened from European Americans on everybody else. Simply having some awareness of that renders you as a good white, a quality white, an upstanding white, Gangrene. So I don't want you to feel too much white guilt, but extend the white guilt to the other whites. You understand? Like tell the others. That's what I tell all of our white friends here. You know what I'm saying? We appreciate you guys being here and being on platforms like Black Liberation Media, etc. But your job is to go tell the others. And I know the others do not want to hear that shit. They don't want to hear that shit. But I think it's going to become really apparent to white folks in the very near future that whiteness is not even going to be able to save you from America's capitalistic fuckery, right? Because I think it's going to become so apparent to whites across the board that it has been race for a long time, but now it is absolutely going to be about class. And again, this is why I'm going to mourn the demise of TikTok, you guys. Like, I was thinking about pulling some of these videos, but because they were a little bit lengthy, I'm like, I don't know if everybody wants to sit here and watch 12 minutes of white folks crying. but yeah, I've been seeing these particular genre of videos of white folks with jobs who are sleeping in their cars at truck stops, white folks with jobs who are sleeping in tents outside, worried that they're going to perish in the elements, but also worried that they have to make it to work tomorrow so they can return back home to their tent. Like, white folks is down bad out here. They're not down bad worse than other groups, but they are starting to feel what Black folks, indigenous folks, and Latinos have been feeling for generations. And they are understanding that the whiteness is not going to be enough. And the whiteness has been enough. And I won't say all the way enough, but whiteness has been a mode of social mobility, right? I always say this, like, and maybe I have this wrong, but I always felt as though like a poor white could just pretend and move up the ladder, right? If you spoke correctly, if you went into Macy's and shoplifted you a few nice outfits, right? If you couldn't afford Macy's, that's fine. Go steal that shit. They're not going to stop you because whites steal all the time and they're allowed to. Like, I feel as though white people have the ability to mask their class in a way because they're white that could allow them to move up the social ladder in ways that Black people and non-white people cannot. I can speak as proper. I can have the education. I can have all that shit, but I'm still Black, and I'm obviously Black. There's no mistaking me for anything else but, right? So the barriers that society and the inherent racism and misogyny that's in our society, that's automatically going to come up. But a white person can mask it, fake it. Maybe I have that wrong. I don't think I do, though. Regardless, be an upstanding white out here. Be a Karen for righteousness. I don't have a problem with Karens per se. I just need Karens to be Karens for righteousness. Don't be a Karen on some I'm an entitled white person shit. No, use your ability and your privilege to advocate for other people that may not be given the same benefit of the cultural and social doubt as you, especially in a situation in which whatever race could come into the equation. But regardless, so thank you, Gangrene Thumb. You are appreciated. Our white friends are appreciated. Shout out to the Blacks out here, the righteous blacks. Shout out to all. What's up, Will? Was that you? Nobody just said something. Okay. Shout out to everybody Black. Shout out to all of our Latinx people or Latinos. Shout out to our Asians. And shout out to the Southeast Asians, especially because I love your food. Shout out to the Nepalese, the Indians, the Pakistanis. Your food is amazeballs. And I would love to visit there someday. So anyway, I'm out. Thank you all so much for being here. What's up to our wonderful mods? Thank you to Latif. Thank you to my son, Tyler, Anna, Abby, Mama Lorraine, Dawnbird, Afraid Not. What's up, Infinite Content? Big up to you. Big up to Chichi Matcha. Infinite, you got a job? Calvin, they used to stand on the corner. Calvin got a job at the McDonald's. Go ahead, Calvin. It's like Infinite. Happy for you, brother. Proud of you, man. Thank you. I'm glad for you sharing that news with us. Thanks, Fran French, Chichi Matcha, Nat A, all of our friends. Who else we got? Hey, who? CBC. Shout out to Schultze. Hey, Schultze, I have an assignment. I told you, LaBelle, I lied. I have a musical assignment for the whites. Y'all need this because I don't have to tell black people to go listen to this because black people already are hip. Schultze, it hurts my heart that white people do not recognize and acknowledge and are proud of one Tina Marie. Have you ever seen the blank look a white person will give you if you ask them, are they up on Tina Marie? And they will look at you blankly. Who is Tina Marie? Tina Marie is one of your lone exceptions of of musical ability and amazingness. And the fact that white people, like, you ask a white person of a certain age about Stevie Nicks, they will get all fucking excited, right? Oh, Stevie Nicks. Oh, yeah. And there's nothing wrong with Stevie Nicks. Respect to Stevie Nicks. There's nothing wrong with Stevie Nicks. But the fact that whites don't hold Tina Marie in the same sort of esteem has always baffled me. And I'm like, but she's the best that y'all have ever put out there. like, you know, Adele, yeah, Adele is nice, you know, Amy Winehouse, respect to the goddess, but for Tina Marie, the fuck? What did y'all even talking about? So Schultze, your assignment, if you choose to accept it, is to dive into Tina Marie. And please start with her first album. Deja Vu, the song, is one of the most beautiful songs I've ever heard composed. It's some of the most beautiful lyrics. It's some of the most beautiful vocal arrangement and production. And Tina Marie, you know, again, no diss to Adele and Amy Winehouse, who were nice with their pen, but Tina Marie was not only nice with her pen, Tina Marie was a fucking musician. Tina Marie played a bass. Tina Marie played a motherfucking piano and do all her dog. The fact that the whites do not hold Tina Marie in esteem just tells me racism. Racism has still got the whites in a fucking chokehold. Y'all don't even acknowledge the best of y'all best. Why? Because she used to get the thing from Rick James, and the whites never forgave Tina Marie for sleeping with Rick James. But nigga, get over it, because Tina Marie is the nicest of the whites, that is, and she needs to be held in some esteem there. So yes. OBD Direct, thank you. Teresa, thank you. Rosalba, thank you. Windra, thank you. Thank you for all of our wonderful supporters. Shout out to Black Magic. Shout out to all of our folks. We love you guys to pieces. Thank you so much to Will and Molly. We was got see you guys back here on Tuesday. Be safe, y'all. It's a brave new world. So be safe. Love you guys. See you later. Bye-bye.